Hold on to your hats, folks, because Donald Trump is back in the White House. The unexpected return of the former president has sent ripples through every corner of the financial world. The news sent shockwaves through the financial world, leaving investors both excited and terrified. Financial analysts are scrambling to adjust their forecasts while investors are glued to their screens, watching every tick of the stock prices. It's a volatile time, with markets swinging wildly as they try to predict what a Trump presidency means for their money. The uncertainty is palpable, with stock market graphs fluctuating wildly, and traders on the exchange floor looking more tense than ever. One thing's for sure, buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride. The financial roller coaster is just beginning, and everyone from Wall Street to Main Street is bracing for impact. Remember those crazy days after the 2016 election? The uncertainty, the market swings, the endless debates on what would come next? Well, it looks like history is repeating itself. Yeah, we're in for round two. The stakes are higher, the players are more experienced, and the consequences could be even more significant. But this time, the stakes are even higher. Corporate executives are holding high-stakes meetings, trying to navigate the uncertain waters ahead. Every decision could mean the difference between profit and loss. The global economy is still recovering from the pandemic, and Trump's policies could make or break it. The world is watching closely, as any major policy shift could have ripple effects across the globe. Will his tax cuts spark growth, or will his trade wars trigger a recession? The questions are many, and the answers are few. Economists are divided, with some predicting a boom and others warning of a bust. Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the markets are on high alert. As the clock ticks, traders and investors are keeping a close eye on every development, ready to react at a moment's notice. The financial world is holding its breath, waiting to see what the future holds. Across the Pacific, Asian markets woke up to the news of Trump's victory, with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Some markets, like Shanghai and Singapore, saw their stocks climb as investors bet on Trump's pro-business policies. But others, like Tokyo and Hong Kong, took a nosedive, fearing the potential fallout from his protectionist trade policies. It's a classic case of risk on, risk off, with some investors embracing the uncertainty and others running for cover. China in particular is watching Trump's every move. The two economic superpowers have been locked in a trade war for years, and Trump's re-election could reignite tensions. Buckle up, Asia, because things are about to get interesting. So, what's in store for the global economy under a second Trump administration? Well, if his first term is anything to go by, we can expect a healthy dose of tax cuts, deregulation, and of course his signature tariffs. Trump's a big believer in putting America first, even if it means ruffling a few feathers or starting a trade war or two along the way. His supporters say his policies are just what the doctor ordered to unleash American economic might. His critics, on the other hand, warn that they could lead to massive deficits, environmental damage, and even a global recession. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Trump's policies will have a profound impact on the world. Over at the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell and his team are probably feeling a little bit like tightrope walkers right now. They're tasked with keeping the US economy stable, but with Trump's unpredictable policies throwing curveballs left and right, it's not going to be easy. On the one hand, Trump's tax cuts could boost economic growth, potentially leading to inflation. That could force the Fed to raise interest rates faster than they'd like, which could slow down the recovery. On the other hand, his trade wars could damage global growth, forcing the Fed to lower rates to stimulate the economy. It's a delicate balancing act, and the Fed is going to need all the skill and luck it can get to navigate the next 4 years. Section 5, Global Markets, a roller coaster ride. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because the global markets are in for a wild ride. The financial landscape is more unpredictable than ever, with every twist and turn bringing new surprises. Just like a roller coaster, the highs and lows are extreme, and the speed at which things change can leave even the most seasoned investors feeling dizzy. Trump's victory has injected a huge dose of uncertainty into the system, and that's never good news for investors. His policies, ranging from trade wars to tax reforms, have created a ripple effect across global markets. Investors are left scrambling to adjust their strategies, trying to predict the unpredictable. The uncertainty is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever. Stocks, bonds, currencies, they're all over the place as traders try to make sense of what a Trump presidency means for their portfolios. The volatility is not just limited to the US markets, it's a global phenomenon. European and Asian markets are also feeling the tremors, with traders around the world glued to their screens, reacting to every piece of news and every tweet. The Dow Jones Industrial Average might be up one day, only to plunge the next. This kind of volatility can be nerve-wracking for investors who are trying to protect their assets. One moment, it seems like the market is recovering, and the next, it's in freefall. The emotional roller coaster is as intense as the financial one. The price of gold, that traditional safe haven asset, could soar as investors seek refuge from the storm. Gold has always been seen as a stable investment in times of crisis, and this period is no different. As uncertainty grows, so does the demand for gold, driving its price higher. And Bitcoin? Well, that digital wild child is probably doing its own thing as usual, defying all logic and reason. Bitcoin's behavior is as unpredictable as the markets themselves. While some see it as the future of finance, others view it as a risky gamble. Its value can skyrocket one moment and plummet the next, adding another layer of complexity to an already chaotic market. It's a volatile time, and only the bravest, or perhaps craziest investors, are likely to come out unscathed. The market's unpredictability means that fortunes can be made or lost in the blink of an eye. For those willing to take the risk, the rewards can be substantial, but the dangers are equally significant. In this high-stakes game, it's not just about making the right moves, it's about having the nerve to stay in the game when the going gets tough. So, hold on tight, because this roller coaster ride is far from over. Section 6. Trade Wars, a looming threat to Asia's prosperity. Across the Pacific, Asian economies are watching Trump's second term with a mix of hope and trepidation. The region's economic stability is intricately tied to the policies and decisions made by the U.S. administration. On the one hand, a strong U.S. economy is good for everyone, right? A thriving American market means increased demand for Asian exports, which can boost growth and create jobs across the region. But on the other hand, Trump's protectionist trade policies, particularly his tariffs on Chinese goods, have already caused significant pain in the region. These tariffs have led to increased costs for consumers and businesses alike, disrupting supply chains and causing economic uncertainty. Countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh have benefited as companies have shifted production away from China to avoid tariffs. This shift has led to a surge in investment and job creation in these countries, providing a much-needed boost to their economies. But for export-dependent economies like South Korea and Taiwan, Trump's trade wars pose a serious threat. These countries rely heavily on exports to the U.S. and other markets, and any disruption to trade can have severe consequences for their economic stability. The big question is whether Trump will double down on his protectionist instincts in his second term, or whether he'll strike a more conciliatory tone. His approach to trade could either exacerbate tensions or pave the way for new agreements that benefit all parties involved. The answer could have major implications for Asia's economic future. A more protectionist stance could lead to prolonged trade disputes, reduced investment, and slower growth. Conversely, a more cooperative approach could foster stability, encourage investment, and promote sustained economic growth across the region. Section 7. China's countermove stimulus to the rescue. China, the world's second-largest economy, isn't just going to sit back and let Trump dictate the terms of trade. The Chinese government has already pumped billions of dollars into its economy to offset the impact of Trump's tariffs. And if the trade war heats up, expect them to do even more. From infrastructure projects to tax cuts, China has a whole arsenal of tools at its disposal to stimulate its economy. The big question is whether these measures will be enough to offset the damage from Trump's trade policies. It's a high-stakes game of economic chicken, and the outcome is far from certain. Section 8. Dollar surges, Bitcoin soars, a tale of two currencies. In the wacky world of currencies, Trump's re-election has created some strange bedfellows. The US dollar, that old symbol of stability, has actually surged in value since the election. Investors are betting that Trump's policies will boost the US economy, making the dollar a more attractive investment. Meanwhile, Bitcoin, that digital enigma, is also on a tear. Some see it as a hedge against the inflation they fear Trump's policies will unleash. Others are just along for the ride, hoping to cash in on Bitcoin's notorious volatility. It's a tale of two currencies, each reflecting a different aspect of the uncertainty that defines our times. Section 9. Stay ahead of the curve. Subscribe now. Want to stay ahead of the curve in these uncertain times? Subscribe to our newsletter and activate notifications to receive real-time market updates, expert analysis, and exclusive insights. Don't let Trump's unpredictable moves catch you off guard. Arm yourself with the knowledge you need to make informed investment decisions. Click here to subscribe now. Section 10. The road ahead. What does Trump 2.0 mean for your portfolio? So, there you have it. A glimpse into the wild world of finance in the age of Trump 2.0. It's a time of both opportunity and risk, with the potential for both big wins and painful losses. The only certainty is uncertainty, and that's enough to keep even the most seasoned investors on their toes.